Hello and welcome to this episode of Scrapbook TV. Today I'm going to be walking through the steps of blending a black and white photo into a background paper. And I will be doing this in Photoshop in the CC 2018, so the most recent version of Photoshop, but it will work in these steps will work in pretty much any version of Photoshop. So we're going to start off, and I've got a photo here. This was from a trip to Disneyland a couple of years ago. And I'm going to be using this little mini that I have for you, the Happiest Vacation Mini, that you can get in the blog post at thedigicrafter.com, where I have the post about doing this technique. So I will be using this mini, but you can also get it free. It's in my resource library there. So we're just going to start off. The first thing we're going to do is duplicate this photo. And I always try to preach that in my classes, to start off, save it, and don't ever, harm your originals. Make sure these are copies, duplicates of them. But in this particular case, we're going to duplicate it because we're going to keep one color and one will be black and white. So we're going to go Image, and Image, Duplicate, and we can even write in here black and white. Okay, there you go. And you can see up here, we toggle back and they look, whoops, that's the paper. Here we've got the photo, and here we've got what we're going to be turning into our black and white, and right now they look the same. And then to color this to black and white, so we don't need to do anything fancy, we just basically need to desaturate it. So that so we can go to Adjustment, Black and White. Super simple. Again, if we wanted to mess with these to get kind of a better balance, we could if we were scrapping the actual black and white photo, but for blending it, we won't really need to worry about that. So we'll just click OK. And then I also want to make the black and white photo just a little bit bigger because I want it to cover most of my paper. So I'm going to go Image Size. And I'm going to do this to about 3200 by 3690. So I'll click OK. And we'll wait for that. And then I'm going to be doing this on a white background paper, but you can do it really on any color. You could do it on patterned, but it's a lot harder to see. So I think it works better, especially to give that black and white feel to it, being on a white paper. In essence, what it does is it just brings the texture of your paper into your photo and gives it kind of this soft look. So because we went bigger, and again, you don't want to do this very often because it does stretch out the quality of your photo, but it doesn't matter when we're blending. It's okay if the quality is not great. So we're going to come up here to Window and Arrange, and we're going to do 3 upstacked. So there we see our black and white, we see our photo, and we see the white paper that I had opened there. Just going to close that for now. And now I'm just going to slide this over to the white paper. And now we can go back to Window, Arrange, Consolidate all to tabs. And that way we have it all back here. Okay. And you can see where there's black all around. Therefore, we know that we are seeing our whole paper. I always hate like if it's cut off, like, we've zoomed in a bit. I want to make sure that I can see the top and the bottom so that I make sure that nothing gets left out or changed or whatever. So now I'm just going to kind of adjust this like this. And now I'm going to work with some of the blend modes. So over here on our layer palette, we've got where it says normal. There are a bunch of different options. So we can do overlay. We can do soft light. Not a big difference between those two. We can do hard light, vivid light, which is kind of a fun look, and maybe we'll go with that one because it's not one that I use very often. And it you know, it does really bring out like the white lights in it, but let's just keep looking at a few more. Linear light's okay, pin light, hard mix. Yeah, so that one you really, we wouldn't use for this project. Definitely not that one or that one. So those we get into, and not any of those. We can go up here to darken, multiply, color burn. And this is the mode I used in the Photoshop Elements version of this tutorial. I like how it really kind of gives that, it's almost like a newspaper clipping look to it. Linear burn, darker color. So, and then if we get into the lighten, we're really not going to see much at all. Screen, I can see a little bit. Color dodge. And lighter color, yeah. So you can kind of play around, and depending on your photo and the look that you're going for, I think we're going to go with the vivid light, and then we're just going to change the opacity here down quite a bit, so that it's there, but it's very subtle. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come over and find our eraser tool. Not the spot healing one. Where did it go? Here we go. Our eraser tool. And then we're going to choose a brush that is very, not a hard brush, but has the soft edges to it. And we're going to make the size quite big, even a little bigger. And then we're going to change the opacity for this first go around to about 50%. Oh, that's too big. Okay, well, and maybe it's hard to get just the right size. Okay, now we're just going to kind of go around the top, and we're not taking off a lot of this because we did the opacity down. But this is just to help us blend. And we can even kind of do it over here so it blends into the edges. Okay, now once we do one sweep around the edges, and you kind of want to go in a little bit on here because we want to look like it's going from not at all on the paper into it more. Okay, now I'm gonna let that just kind of finish. It's a little slow because I'm recording, so we'll just kind of be patient with it. And now it's still doing its thing. So this kind of look is really, really fun if you're doing like a mixed media sort of layout. And we'll kind of show at the final product of this how it works, where I'll still have the original, like the color photo on the page, but just having this blended in is it's just fun. So, oh, I hope it's not going to freeze up on me. Okay, there we go. Now we'll do the eraser again, and we're going to come up. We'll make it just a little bit smaller, but we're going to change the opacity to 100%. And this time we're just going around the edges to get rid of that kind of hard line. Whoops. I think I cut off a little more than I wanted. We'll see how yeah, I guess that looks okay. And you can kind of, play with it however you want. I like to kind of blend this in, but also have some knot on the edges. Okay, so there is our blended photo. And then I'm going to go ahead and scrap the layout on top of it, and then you can find the final product in the blog post at thedigicrafter.com. And you can also look there for more scrapbook freebies and tutorials and other things that will help you feel inspired and learn programs better for digital scrapbooking. Thank you for joining me.